everyone, and welcome back to the IPO Exchange. I'm your host, Nick Accordino, Accounting Advisory and Capital Markets Transaction Partner. Today, I'm coming to you from the NASDAQ in the heart of Times Square for this special edition episode where we'll take you inside the 2025 IPO Symposium. Today, we'll be speaking with IPO marketplace professionals and industry leaders about their perspectives on the market today, where it's been, where it's at, and what their predictions are moving forward. Now I'm joined by Lisa D'Angelo, Deloitte New York's Technology and Media Transaction Partner. Lisa, welcome to the show. Thank you for being here. We got a room full of people in there. This event has been amazing so far. A lot of energy, all the transaction activity since Labor Day. Tell us a little bit about what we're seeing specifically here in New York.
A lot of excitement here, a lot going on in New York. When you think about what's happened over the last few weeks, 7 companies going public, 5 of which we serve, 2 here right in New York.
Amazing.
It's been a tremendous time, and we couldn't be at a more spectacular event to celebrate some of these transactions.
Now the $1 million question is, okay, everybody in the pipeline, everybody getting ready to go, what should they be working on? What should they be looking to do to make sure that they're ready?
Yeah, I'm still seeing investors are being very selective. Those fundamentals are really key to being prepared to go public. I think they want to see a clear path or profitability. They want to see scalability of your business. Really understanding your business model, I think, is important. So being able to relay that story to the street, to analysts, is a really important part of being prepared.
Yeah, no, that's great. All right, Lisa, one more question for you. Talk to me a little bit about what sectors are we expecting to get hot, the rest of the calendar year and into 2026?
Yeah, you've heard all the buzz. FinTech, payments, crypto AI.
Today. Yeah.
Correct. We had a crypto today.
Yeah.
I would say all the FinTech type companies, they are hot. But I will say it's not off the table for anyone. We're seeing it come out of everywhere. Again, if you hold steady to the fundamentals, which is scalability, profitability, we are seeing headwinds in those companies like ad tech, where their business model is being disrupted by technology. When you think about more direct to consumer facing type companies, those companies are challenging if they're not profitable.
Well, listen, thank you so much for taking some time. I'll let you get back to the event, but really appreciate you being with us
Nick,
today.
It's always a pleasure.
Yeah,
thank you.
Great. Guys, thanks for being here. Let's get into some questions here. Stay, I'll start with you. What are your reactions to the IPO marketplace so far? We saw a great week last week coming into this event. How do you think the markets have performed so far in 2025?
Yeah, I think we've seen great quality companies access the market, tons of investor appetite, great execution, and importantly, great trading in the days afterwards. And I think a lot of the backlog of companies that we're working with, you guys are working with, that are looking to access the markets are obviously paying close attention to how these deals are trading.
That's a great segue. Will, I'm going to give this next question to you. All those companies in the backlog, all those companies kind of watching what's happening in the markets, what should they be doing to prepare themselves, and what pitfalls might be out there?
Nick, you probably hear me say this all the time. There's no perfect checklist for an IPO. Right? You can't give a company a checklist and say, if you do these 5 things. There's certainly compliance items, getting your audit in order, being ready to list, finding the right legal team to help you get the registration statement, et cetera. Those are compliance items that must be done following the SEC. But then there's I'm ready to be public. Do you have the ability to forecast? Do you know your story that you're going to communicate for the street? Are you ready to speak to investors who are going to be now investing in you in the public? It's wildly different. So today when we're talking to companies, it's a very different scenario actually. The capital markets are ready for those companies to go public. The companies aren't necessarily ready for the capital markets. Right. So it's an interesting viewpoint today versus yesteryear.
That's right. All right, finish off with you, Ian. What do we think 2026 looks like?
Look, the pipeline's long, and there's a lot of high-quality companies that are scaled and preparing now for the public markets. They're ready to access that public equity, and we're really optimistic, based on what we see from our perspective, that the rest of the year will be busy, but 26 is going to be extremely busy.
Well, guys, thanks so much for your time. I really appreciate it. I'll let you get back into the event. Looking forward to the second half here.
Thanks, Nick.
Thanks for having us.
I'm here with Jade Mandel, Managing Director from Goldman Sachs. Jade, welcome to the show.
Happy to be here.
So let's jump right in. What's your reaction to how IPO marketplace activity has gone so far this year?
Yeah, it's been exciting. I'd say it's energizing would be how to characterize
Good
it.
word for it. Yep.
Yeah, I think in the private markets, there's typically 3 ways that you're exiting businesses. You get acquired by a strategic, you get acquired by sponsors, or an IPO. And when you're getting acquired by strategic, there's a limited universe of companies that can acquire those businesses. Sponsors are known to be more, let's call it valuation sensitive, and IPOs prioritize growth. So having the IPO market open again is exciting.
Yeah, that's great. Recent IPOs have had some pretty impressive debuts as of late. Do you think this is attributed to the companies themselves? Do you think this relates to the sectors, or is it just general investor enthusiasm for having IPOs back?
So I'd say the companies that have gone public are obviously fantastic businesses themselves, but there's definitely an element of demand, pent-up demand for these IPOs. And if you think from the public market investors, part of it is diversification of their portfolios. Yeah. A lot of them have a lot of exposure to the mega caps, and so new names enable them to diversify their own portfolios. There's an element of tech, and a lot of the new IPOs are more, let's call it innovative or focused on technologies, core to their thesis and to their next 10-year story. That's exciting. And the third is just the growth rates of these businesses. I think on average, the companies that are going public are going to be focused on what that 5-year, 10-year growth plan is, and investors are excited to participate in that growth.
Yeah, no, that's great. Well, listen, thank you so much for being here. We appreciate you taking the time.
Thanks for having me.
I'm here with Ted Hatfield, founder of Solebury Capital. Ted, welcome to the show.
Thanks, good to be here.
Ton of activity, a lot of sparks, particularly since the Labor Day holiday. What's your reaction to how the IPO marketplace has reacted and the activity we've seen so far in 2025?
Nick, I think the market is still healing itself, right? And it's a natural kind of progression into a full-fledged market. I think we're probably in the 3rd, maybe the 4th inning. But what characterizes 3rd and 4th inning is positive selection, right? So the best companies that are out there are given the opportunity to come out of hibernation and make their way into the market. So you see better companies coming public, better executions, better outcomes that will stimulate more supply as the markets heal themselves into the rest of this year, 25 and into 26.
All right, we've seen the activity, we've talked about the activity, we've talked about the pipeline. What sectors do you anticipate seeing more activity over the next 6 months versus others?
Sure, it's a good question. What's characterized this opening of the market has been more defensive sectors, right? Growth is still a hot topic. It's going to drive the markets on a go-forward basis. Finding growth in a lower growth environment is going to be tough to do. Sure. So the companies that can demonstrate that, regardless of sector, I think are going to be the ones that are going to get the best reception. So I would look for the growthy businesses across sectors. That's where you'll see markets open up.
Yeah, that's great. Well, listen, Ted, thank you so much for being here. We really appreciate your time, not only as part of the IPO Symposium, but coming on the IPO Exchange here, and we look forward to having you on again.
My pleasure. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, appreciate it.
You bet.
Thanks.
All right, and there we have it. Another successful IPO Symposium and special edition episode of the IPO Exchange. Stay tuned for our next episode, where we'll head to Portland, Oregon to meet the CFO of one of the few food and beverage IPOs to price in the last 3 years. You're not going to want to miss that one. Thanks again for tuning in, and we'll see you there.